Hey guys, it's New Comic Book Wednesday and I'm going to review Aquaman first. Also, I picked up Teen Titans number 2 today, so I'll be reviewing this next. So, yeah, let's begin my review on Aquaman number 2. Now, this comic book cover is interesting. I really like this comic book cover because in this like creature or fish's eyes, you can actually see Aquaman like in his eyes. So basically, like, the picture or image is basically the first issue of Aquaman. So basically the cover of the first issue of Aquaman is in the fish's eyes, which is cool. I like that. That's just like a little nice touch I noticed. So on to the review of this. So we open off where Aquaman number 1 left off. We got introduced to Aquaman and how people underestimate him and think that he's some sort of like, you know, useless type of hero, but we find out that he isn't. And we also found out about these creatures that live under the sea and they start attacking people on the boat. And that's where we pick off, where they last left off when the fishes were, or these creature thingies, starts climbing on the boat and eats the fishermen's. So also we actually find out in this issue that these creatures have a leader. This creature, basically, you can tell it's a leader because he sprays this kind of gooey thingy, like this thing from his mouth. He spits at the enemy, at its prey, and he says, "My food." And then everybody's like, "Oh, his food, his food." So that means, you know, like he's the big dog, he's the big man of this whole group. Like no one can have his food because, you know, he's the biggest, or he's like the leader or something. So that's how we figured that out. Then, you know, as the boat is still, you know, going back to land, it's almost about to hit a harbor, and you know, the creatures are still there, and they notice the harbor, and they're like, "Oh, there must be more food." So then we cut off to Aquaman and Mera at home, you know, just looking at old photos of Aquaman, and, you know, Mera starts telling Aquaman that if they're going to live on land, you know, she has to get used to the land and get to know, you know, how people, you know, work around, you know, land areas, because they've always been, you know, at the sea, in the ocean. So she wants to get to know, you know, the land more. And they also find out a picture that Aquaman took with his father, and there's this mysterious man, we don't know who it is, but he says this picture shouldn't be in here. I don't know what it is, but maybe they'll touch upon it more later on. And then the doorbell rings, or someone knocks on the door, and we notice there's a sheriff or deputy, and he asks Aquaman for help, and you know, they start doing the same thing, you know, underestimating and making fun of Aquaman. He's like, "Oh, are you Aquaman? Because I didn't notice you with your orange shirt." And he's like, "It's not an orange shirt, it's a scaled armor." You know, that's kind of funny. You know, people always notice, "Oh, that's Aquaman because he has that orange goofy shirt on," you know, but it's actually armor, scaled armor. So yeah, and then they tell him about what's happened at the harbor. Everybody's gone, everybody's dead, and then the deputy also makes a little comment about Mera. He says, "Hey, is that Aquawoman?" And then she's like, "I'm Mera." He's like, "Oh, are you a mermaid? Because, you know, maybe that works in only water. You only turn into a mermaid when you're in water." And she's like, "I can control water." You get to see her ability of her controlling water, which is interesting. See, this is how people just keep, you know, underestimating Aquaman and making fun of him. So also later on, you know, Aquaman of course agrees and goes off to find, you know, what's going on. And they're at the harbor, and, you know, one of the sheriffs comes along and starts complaining, saying like, "Oh, what are you doing? You're supposed to, like, you know, be helping around. You bring Aquaman and Aquawoman," and then, you know, they have to say it again. It's Mera, not Aquawoman. And of course, you know, they're just picking on Aquaman and saying like, "Oh, we don't need your help," and stuff like that. "Go away," you know. And then, you know, Aquaman, of course, goes along and he tries to, you know, not communicate, but, you know, try to see what's going on in the sea, if there's any, like, life at sea right now, like, what's going on. Because then they said, "Can you talk to those fishes and see what they've done," or whatever. So he starts, you know, telepathically, you know, trying to see what's going on in the water, seeing if there's any creatures or anything living underwater. And, you know, he didn't find anything until they found this little mysterious, like, oyster kind of like cocoon thing. And of course Aquaman notices that something's wrong because he can hear something say "food, food," and then boom, a whole bunch of these creature things, those same creature things, comes out and starts attacking Aquaman and Mera. Now, the creatures already ate everybody at the harbor. That's why the police officers are there. And so as, you know, they're fighting, it's interesting, you know, you see Aquaman fight and you get to see Mira actually fight too. So you actually see her using her water abilities and, you know, it's really great. And then you see the leader of the group come along and say that this food must come back to the trench. So they're taking Aquaman back to the trench, maybe to their home, but I don't know what the trench is. They're going to reveal that in issue number 3 because they said the mystery of the trench. That's what's going to go on. I have to say, this is still a pretty good issue. Aquaman, really, I highly recommend you guys getting it. The art in this is still amazing. It's flat out good. Of course, Jeff Johns is doing a great job writing the story and writing about Aquaman. It's really good. You know, just how everybody underestimates Aquaman. I mean, before I didn't think, like I said, I didn't think Aquaman was that, you know, interesting at first. I mean, I didn't think he was weak, but, you know, people made him out to be like he's a wimp or like some, you know, useless superhero. Like, all he can do is communicate fish, but it's different. So, still a great take on Aquaman. I highly recommend you guys picking this issue up. If you guys didn't pick up issue 1, pick that up too before you pick up number 2 and before it starts piling and piling up. And yeah, I'll talk about something later after I review Teen Titans number 2. But yeah, so that's my review. And talk